Well, hello, hello, and welcome, and happy Equinox. As you know, today marks the very first day of spring in the Northern Hemisphere. It's been raining very gently here for the last couple of days and watering all the new seeds that have been planted in the coming months up until now. And if you are in the Southern Hemisphere, you're really slowing down and moving into a space of celebrating the harvest and really bringing that energy down into your roots, so that you can move through this space of a quieter pace that, if we're following the seasons, we should be doing. But no matter where you live, just remember that this is the time of equal day and equal night. It's exactly opposite. Rising and setting, east to west, is exactly at 0 degrees. And like all full moons, this one is super powerful with the amplification of that 333 energy portal that opened on the 3rd of March. March 21st is the next upswing of that. So really, really important right now to look at how you can bring more peacefulness into your lives. I don't believe that we're looking for balance. We're really looking for a place of internal resourcing of, I can stay calm and peaceful no matter what's going on around me, and that you can do that for others, including animals, which is part of my trauma to trust process that really gets results that are permanent, because we're going back to those inner child parts that need us to grow ourselves up. So stay with me, because I want to just share some of my insights on how you can take a pause, push pause on the world right now, and really experience these powerful energies alongside your animal companions and your human family. So this is not a time to go back to sleep. I spoke about this at the beginning of the week in our weekly energy forecast. So if you haven't listened to that, go back and take a listen. It might be very supportive for you to have those incredible animals as messengers, as medicine, to really keep your focus and your commitment to take consistent action as you go forward this week. And instead of ignoring or burying those inner desires that you have and what your heart's calling for, especially as we sort of go back into the judgments of all the things that we wish we'd done already in the first 3 months of this year, but to really deeply listen to your heart and ask your heart what it most craves. I wrote some inquiry questions above this post. So take some time after this to just take out a pen and a pad and just maybe sit quietly with a nice hot cup of tea and get really honest and truthful about answering those questions, to look at, what are some of the qualities that you want to bring into your life that you feel that you're lacking right now. And also, as all good full moons are, what needs to be released, so that you can invite in all of this new energy and the new abundance codes of love that are the new power codes, I think, of creating conscious business. So back to the full moon today. It's a powerful moon in Libra. And as you may know, it's not just the full moon alone. It's the 333 energy. It's your commitment to really taking action this month, as it sort of reaches this pivotal point, to start to look at, are your actions aligned with your truth? Or are you getting distracted by bright, shiny objects and the fear of missing out, or the fear of why many people don't become self-led because they're afraid to take risks? And of course, when you learn through the nature of animals and the natural feeding cycle, there is nothing to lose. There's just an opportunity to transform. And I think this year, amplifying, remember, we're going to be staying in this Chiron energy, the energy of the wounded healer, for the next 7 years. So again, this full moon in Libra has a very strong Chiron energy to it. And it's asking us to look at how we're leading our lives. Where do we need to heal from our own unresolved trauma, so that we can bring in this holistic healing and turn those initial woundings of our child part, normally pre-7-year-old, into the talents and the gifts and the service that we are here, each of us are here, to share with others in the world. So if you really, really are honest and truthful, and you're saying, yes, I'm wanting a healthier relationship with myself, with my business, with my family, with whoever that is that's coming up for you, trust that you need to heal yourself first. That's the sun in conjunct with Chiron right now. It's saying, instead of trying to look outside of yourself to find someone to fix you, remember you're not broken. And if you're trying to find yourself right relationship that's kind, that's loving, that's in alignment, that's going to grow you as you grow the other person or persons, don't wait. Don't wait, because perfection is just an illusion of the ego that keeps you from the very thing that you're asking for to come through. So find out, get really curious about, who am I being in this moment, and get a very healthy sense of your identity in relation to the stories that you're telling yourself that might be keeping you away from everything you're asking to come in. The ego is something to be employed by our soul, by our spirit, by our heart. And when you can use that in a healthy way, then you can look at the duality of the singularity, I am, who am I being in the world, and let the ego self bring together all those broken parts of yourself, the fragmented parts, back into a holistic way of changing your lifestyle and your environment. Because the process, I know, of self-integration, it can be easy. It's always going to be challenging, but it doesn't have to be hard. We're always looking for simplicity, right? We're not looking for balance. We're looking for an inner state of resourcing, peacefulness, of ease, right? The opposite of that being dis-ease. So we do need to look at our dark side. We need to go into the shadows and stop, that perpetuation of denial, that self-defense mechanism that's saying I'm alone, that I have to fix this by myself, that you can't trust anybody else to support you, and allow that to come to the surface. The moon, being of water, is always there, especially in its fullness, to allow all those unresolved thoughts and feelings and emotions and stories to rise to the surface so that you can feel it. Because when you feel it, then you can heal them. And then you don't have to move into that pathological defensive mechanism that we call projecting. Projecting your hurt, your fear, your betrayal, your wounds onto other people. It's a very interesting space, projection, because it's somewhere between denial and acceptance. You're not denying it anymore. And when you can just be curious about that and become aware of what the wounding is, the initial wounding, right? The point of creation, that you created this belief that people can't be trusted, or that you have to do it all your own, or whatever it is that's coming up for you. And from that space, then you can start to integrate it rather than projecting all of that outward on others. So right now, as I said earlier, this is the time to get very curious and honest with yourself about what is triggering you, and push pause before you go into a reactive projection or trying to prove otherwise or trying to make yourself right. Ask yourself, wouldn't you rather be wrong and free than have to defend this point of view of all these outdated beliefs and attitudes that actually, aren't working for you anymore? And know that, we project onto others those blind spots. They're blind spots because you can't see them yet. And you can't see it in yourself. So sometimes on the nervous system, you shut down. You go into an avoidant attachment, or an ambivalent attachment that's like, I don't really care, but inside you're seething, and you're starting to create disharmony inside your body on a cellular level. Or you're just kind of, as I said, going into that shutdown or that flee state where you do everything in your power to avoid any kind of conflict or confrontation. And I certainly used to be a runner until I learned to start to stay in my body. And I have 3 snapped Achilles tendons to prove that the running doesn't work. We have to sit and feel it. We have to befriend our shadow aspects of ourselves so that we can start to look to others, look to what we see in others, both the good and the bad, the contrast, right? The duality of it, that as much as we can see what we don't like in ourselves and others, we can also look to people that are living a good life, that are good communicators, and in them see the part in you that is wanting to communicate in a better way. So look to the duality, to the contrast as you sort of go through this time of another great energetic upgrade, and start to see that you don't have to live from this antagonistic or defensive position anymore. That the best thing that you can do for yourself is to realize that everything that you are seeking is inside of you. And I know that sounds very cliche, but it's true. And because we're in this full moon of Libra, if you think about Libra, it's all about the scales. It's about constantly moving. Remember, your cells are constantly moving in order to create a state of good intercommunication, not balance, but more flexibility in the movement, right? Even in the still point, there's movement. So look at these sort of active energies right now and ask yourself, can I go beyond the decisions and the judgments and the conclusions and the computations and all the places where I've been projecting my hurt or making assumptions and not talking up? That just creates a lot of confusion between you and the other person, or you and your business, or you and your animal friends. And just ask, what would love do in this moment? What would love do here? Such a beautiful heart-opening question to just soften, to push down the heart walls, to lower your energetic barriers so that you can widen your perspective to see what actually is available to you, that you're not alone, that you are energetically and supported all the time by your team players, your energetic guides, your helping spirits, and also people in your life that want you to thrive and want you to really celebrate your gifts. So just know, that it's only when we can start to see the other, the antagonist, the protagonist, the abuser, whatever it is for you, the other, for who they are, and that they're all going through their own dark night of the soul, that they're all doing the best they can as very unique individuals, and that we are all looking to come back to our belonging from a place of love and from a place of trust. So this is where allowance is one of the 5 cornerstones of the work that I share in my mindfulness change process, is where everything is possible and nothing is excluded. And that really is a space of allowance to look at, if you were in that person's position, how would you respond? Knowing that there's a hurt child that has unmet needs, that is afraid to reach out. And know that love is not about who we are. It's about us projecting ourselves into others because we want to be loved and we want to be seen. And it's not about our small needs. It's when we truly focus on the other, then we can actually forget about any projections or any belief systems that we've made up about ourselves, that we're alone, or that we have to figure it all out on our own. So there gets to be this beautiful opening to move out of the sense of aloneness and isolation, and we get to heal this great separation sickness by being the one who says hello. Remember that money, which is our exchange of how we value and how we put things as a priority, comes to us through other people. So, we can't create in a vacuum. We need other people to be there. We need people to see us, to know that we have something that perhaps they have been asking for. And when you can start to do your inner work, not from a place of lack, but from a place of desire to grow and evolve and transform yourself. I think we always do the work that we most need to do on ourselves, out there in the world, because we're all growing ourselves up. And when we start to realize that we don't have to create from this place of isolation, for example, you start to realize that you actually are enough, that your peace matters. And then you get to break free of all of that old programming that's running you from your child self, in a space of, it's not safe for me to take a risk in trusting somebody else, or to invest in something, or it's not safe for me to do whatever that is, fill in the blank. There is no loss there. It's just more a place of saying that if I choose this, will it be a contribution to my life? And this is what this full moon in Libra is coming to us to say: break through all these old limitations. You are love, and you are making a difference out there in the world. So if you've been feeling unsettled, like some of my clients have, building up until, for the last couple of days, yesterday, if you're feeling restless and anxious, know that you're exactly in the right place for this beautiful, powerful moon, for this 3-3 energy to support you in coming out of exile and back into how you want to create right relationship, how you want to be the leader of your life, regardless of who follows. That's the state of non-attachment, where you can start to see, if there's a disconnect in your family, or you're feeling like your love life is in your house of enemies right now, or that your work is not filling you up anymore. Go there and stay there. Journal about it. Do a meditation. There's plenty of those on my website. But just know that if you're kind of feeling very painfully aware that you are feeling alone right now, or that you do want to call in more, lean in, get curious about how it would feel when you change that, when you say hello to a stranger, when you reach out and touch somebody without asking for anything in return, just to say, I see you, and I feel you, and I'm here for you. Because when you do that, that's how you build up your confidence. You build up your trust in the sense of belonging. And obviously this is what my work is based on, is this return to trust, where we can have two-way dialogue and hear what the other person is asking for, and then look at how can you create a win-win situation in that there's nothing to lose, there's nothing to prove, and there's nothing to hide. So, give yourself loving, tender care right now, and turn inward into the shadows and take the wisdom that others offer you. Very genuinely. You can know when it's authentic, when it's coming from the heart, but really be in appreciation for their perspective and their view of the world, or that thing that you've been asking for. And of course, don't take anything personally. It's when we go into the story and we get emotionally attached that we go back out of this beautiful state into a state of suffering again. So just remember that when you refuse to take an honest look inside, you're always going to project your inner chaos, your hurt from your unmet needs, from your pre-7-year-old onto others. And when you are authentically yourself, when you're fully open to receive your light and the gifts in your shadows, right, then you're able to appreciate the other for who they are becoming, who they are in the moment, in their own unique way. And sometimes simply loving the other, even when you feel like you can't, is all we actually need to heal ourselves. So I hope that you use this energy really, really well. I know I'm certainly going to go out and sit with the horses later on and take my journal and a candle and just tap into some of the questions that I am inviting you to ask yourself. And if you are feeling cold, if this is resonating with you, as always, please like it, share it with other people, because we can go so much further together than apart. And this whole year, this year of the Earth Pink, about knowing that we are of nature and that we are made of nature and that we create with nature. We have to access our true nature. And we do that by sharing our own unique part of this beautiful tapestry that we're all weaving, that we each hold our own thread of magic. So if you're feeling like you need some support with that, for the last time, I'm going to offer you a brand new way of transforming that's actually as ancient as the wisdom of how our forefathers, when they were in harmony with nature, worked with nature. And I know that's a lot of natures, but I really just want you to know that you don't have to relive trauma. You don't have to go back into all those old realities and stories to require any effort of utilizing your vital life force to fight battles with the dark, that your inner demons, your ego. In order to enter the light, you just need to make the commitment to invest in time to look at your shadows as the gifts that they are, to look at, if you've been depressed, as the gift in depression, that everything is there and is transforming with you to live into your greatest gifts. So if that feels like something that you want, just imagine a path of evolution that's going to help you find your true happiness without having to chase away all the things that most people believe are in the way of truly living a fulfilled, happy, healthy life. It's just about inner resourcing again, to claim your power and work from the inside out, right? From the micro to the macro, that everything that you are experiencing in your own internal climate is going to be a reflection of what you see in your external, in the macro environment. Your thoughts become things. Your body follows your mind. So if you're constantly resisting looking at your blind spots, all you do is create more of what you don't want. And it doesn't have to be that way. When you start to actually unravel all of this and you start shedding some of these old skins, and we go back in this process to the point of creation in your child, as I said, that's set you up in your adult life to believe that you have to project hurt, that you have to beget violence with violence, that you have to go into, oh, me too, in the whole fear and the lack and the scarcity in order to fit in. When you start to realize that there's an easier way, everything starts to miraculously change. And this is what I'm really offering you in the dancing with the shadows, turning your blind spots, your hurt, your trauma into truth-telling, into visibility, into the light, so that you can not just triumph, but transform and be your own medicine, be your own loving internal author, and rewrite your story. So if that's something that you're interested in, I would love, love, love to offer that to you. And as you go through that two-part, very pragmatic, lots of tools to help you, lots of ways to change the way that you're dialoguing and languaging in your relationship, you're going to get instant feedback to what is possible when you come from the space of complete authenticity and vulnerability and naming of your fears. To say to somebody, instead of projecting, I'm a little confused here. Could you help me with this? Who cannot but lean in and support you? So just small changes in how you're spelling, right? You're using alchemy by speaking language into the world of everything that is hurting you and everything that is upsetting you right now. When you can see that from a trigger as a growth point, everything starts to change. And you will have abundant, kind, loving relationships that come from no judgment. It is so possible, and in a very short period of time. So look at that, because what we're literally going to do for you is you're going to start rewiring your nervous system and start to create the building blocks for your soul's voice to come through and activate in your alchemy, in your unique talents and gifts, a way forward that is that way of the inner peaceful warrior. And this is where you're going to learn that you need to manage your energy, that you need to put healthy, flexible boundaries in place So you're going to learn lots of processing, and you're going to be able to engage right away in your real-time life all these new downloaded practices so effortlessly that other people are going to want more of that, because it feels so good, right? Trust feels good. An open heart-to-heart connection feels so good. So no matter what the circumstances are, you no longer have to go into an avoidant or an ambivalent or an insecure attachment style, an old coping mechanism, because you're going to stay in the process and speak truth into it so that it can transform and change with you. So what a gift to give to the other people in your life, where perhaps you're asking for more peace and more cooperation, more mindful regard in how you're showing up in those relationships with your kids, with your children, with your your employees. If you have a business where you have a lot of employees, this is a game changer. And it's just, the stories, the transformations that people constantly tell me inside of the Coast Facebook group, which you'll be added to, just blow me away every single day as to just how much is possible, where your ego no longer has to work from a place of defensiveness. Yes, when you're triggered, it's just about more shifting into alignment with your soul, without the interference from this unraveling of the ego that thinks it's going to die when you kill off all the old stories and lies that you've been trying to make true. So I hope you join me. And when you go through those two parts of projections and assumptions and start practicing them in the world, when you're ready, there is a whole nother 5 trainings in this bundle called Illuminating Your Gifts. And this is truly what you're able to do, and how people start to turn around their businesses and get more consistent income, and are having sleepful, restful, deep sleep rather than insomnia, and have changed their digestion and are looking more healthy and are losing weight. Because when you start to receive from this new way of being, all the gifts of all the challenges that you've gone through and transformed through your resilience, through your love, through your allowance, because you've cleared all this old programming, you get to then show up and craft a story, a powerful story that's going to attract your divine right talent, right clients that are looking for your unique talents and your how do we say that? Your specific system. Just as my trauma to trust is my own proprietary system, you're going to get to create your own in a way that is heartfelt, and that you don't need to use any of that sort of sleazy, salesy marketing strategy to manipulate people from a place of fear, because you are just inviting them into a whole new opportunity through your work to show up in the world. So that's it. That's my invitation. I'll post it below. And if you know somebody that might be looking for this, please share it. Please post your comments, your insights, what your rituals are during full moon time, and share that below in the comments, so that people get to be inspired by the way that you are creating daily momentum and consistency in your rituality and in your action steps to live an abundant, beautiful life. And until then, good full moon blessings to you. I love you, I see you, and I honor you. Make it matter, because you are enough and you matter, and I see you. All right, take care. Bye.